How did you acquire some of the information that you needed for this book? I mean,
Well,
what did you do?
you have to look for evidence. For example, first you have a working hypothesis. This is probably what happened, but this is a hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if it's true or not. The hypothesis that you have before you start your research is very different than hypothesis that you end up with, because everything depends on what you find, how you can support it. In scholarship, you have to have hard evidence. You cannot say this is what happened based on assertions. So you can say these are the documents. So then you have to look for documents. What kind of documents you find? The problem is those documents are not very easy to find. You have to look for 2 million different places. It takes a huge time. And one document does not necessarily prove a point. So you have to find a supporting document. Then what you do is you collect all these things, you try to sort them out, and then you see if there are any two independent documents that confirm one point. Then you can say that this is something that we can safely state. But there are a lot of good documents that you cannot find a supporting point because it doesn't exist. That doesn't mean they're wrong. Yet you basically rank them second in reliability, saying that I have this document, but it's waiting for confirmation. So those are the things that I try to accomplish, and that's a good scholarship, I believe. Otherwise, they find a rumor sometimes, and then they write as a fact, like newspaper articles. And most of the thing that when I teach this thing, I ask students to write as if you're not 100%, even 100%, you can't be even 100%. That's why history
99.9.
Yeah, exactly. That's the closest you can get, because you don't know what who those wrote those things at that time. We're talking about 200-300 years before. You know what? Even I was writing, you're reading, because new things are coming in. You're trying to incorporate. I would say at least a decade for this one.
So you basically research while you're writing.
While you're writing, and then something comes up. That's the killer. You have a beautiful chapter, and then a document comes up, contradicts what you're writing. Either you change everything,
and so
or
what do
you
you
have
do?
to find an arc. Yeah, you have to.
You have to address.
Yes. Here's another thing that could be interesting. There was a wonderful document that I found in British archives. Yet I forgot to write down the folder number. I remember I took the notes, direct quotations. It supports beautifully the point that I was trying to make. I had to take it out because I couldn't find the footnote.
Yeah.
So I mean, most people take this thing very lightly. So well, I saw it. No, you have to prove it. You have to give them the footnotes that if someone wants to check it, they can go find it. When I'm reading published material, like books, secondary material, I'm looking basically what is available. And also, is there any argument that I can challenge with my documents? But when I'm looking for documents, I have to go first what's available there. When I see a document, I look at my notes and say, look, this guy made this argument, but there's a document contradicting that. It's worth noting. It's something that should be published. So I put that thing aside. So this source will challenge, say, compare it to so-and-so book, 5-page, page 5. But when I'm looking at the primary sources, so I'm always, is there anything that contradicts to the what's already published, or is there anything that is new? And the second thing, when I'm reading these primary documents, how reliable are they? Can we really say this by looking at these things, or do I need a secondary document? There are some primary documents, for example, that contradicts certain things, but there's only one. Like in American archives, I found a handwritten letter of a Turkish president. You don't need a supporting evidence for that. It's already there.